Joining me now is Florida Congressman Byron Donalds. Congressman, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning, Maria. Good to be with you.
The Democrats in Texas are acting like they have not been doing redistricting for years.
No, absolutely. I don't even know why the Democrats are acting like this at this point, especially in California. The California maps are some of the most gerrymandered all across the United States. Been that way for quite some time. What Gavin Newsom should be more worried about is making sure he's not giving CDL licenses to illegal aliens who are killing people in Florida. That's what he should be focused on instead of this. But at the end of the day, what's going to occur is the Texas maps are going to be signed by Greg Abbott. We'll see what they get done in California. California has to actually go to the voters because of their redistricting commission, and polling indicates that the voters of California do not want to change their congressional maps. And so, we're going to continue through this. The biggest problem overall, Maria, is that Democrats want to count illegals and people who are not citizens who do not have the right to vote in the United States for the purpose of setting congressional districts. That's at the core of this matter. The Democrats have been fighting for that for decades. In Congress, we had legislation to stop that practice so that American voters and people who are lawfully allowed to vote, they are the people who are counted for the purpose of setting congressional district lines. And the Democrats vehemently oppose this because they don't care about the American voter. They only care about power.
Well, that's what Kevin McCarthy said to me last weekend, saying, look, they're going against the Constitution of California. This is not what the voters want. But Gavin Newsom doesn't care because he wants to run for president.
That's exactly right. Kevin McCarthy's right on that one. Gavin's trying to find a way to get to the head of the line of a sinking ship in the Democrat Party. But I think people need to understand, look at any Democrat-run district. Their lines are already massively gerrymandered. New York City tried to do even more gerrymandering 2 years ago. The New York State Supreme Court kicked those maps out. Go look at the Illinois map. I've never seen anything like it. It's not even like a jigsaw puzzle. They literally made district lines just to have more Democrats in the state of Illinois, state of Connecticut, state of Massachusetts. I can go on and on and on. This is a practice that the Democrats have really been doing for quite some time. I commend Governor Abbott for getting into the game.
Yeah, Congressman, you've done so much work on the Oversight Committee with regard to this Russia collusion, and now we hear from Miss Russia collusion herself, the former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. She is now facing an ethics complaint from a government watchdog group. They're calling on the Arkansas State Bar to probe whether Clinton's involvement in the Russia collusion made-up story by her campaign affects her ability to practice law in Arkansas. Your reaction?
I think that's an appropriate complaint. We know that Hillary Clinton concocted a scheme that abused the intelligence community, abused the FISA court system, just so they could spy on her rival at the time, then candidate Donald Trump. And then they continued that scheme to undermine the administration of the 45th president, Donald Trump. And she gets a law license. As far as I remember, the bar for getting a law license is quite high. The ethical bar is quite high. And so, yes, they should be looking at her law license in Arkansas, quite frankly, in every other state in the country.
Well, I mean, look, she's got the Clinton machine. I mean, the Democrat machine is so strong that they just keep getting away with everything. Do you think we're finally going to see accountability now that the DNI has put out these declassified items?
I believe so. I think enough's enough. The American people are tired of these things just becoming news cycle stories. They want to see action. And I do believe that what DNI Gabbard has been doing is going to lead to real accountability. Look, what you can't do is spy on your political rival and then weaponize the government against your political rival if he happens to become president. It's un-American. You simply can't do it. People do need to be held accountable. The first start of that is what the Trump administration has already started to do, which is removing and revoking security clearances for people who were involved in my view, something that was way bigger than Watergate or even the auto pen. This is a real scandal in America's constitutional republic. Revoking their security clearances is the first step in true accountability.
I mean, it absolutely was. I mean, not only that, it ripped the country apart. It put a sitting president, duly elected president, on his back heels, having to say, I didn't collude with Russia every 3 seconds. And not only that, but look at all of the things that they weren't doing while they were screaming, Russia, 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 Trump, Russia, Trump, Russia. China was eating our lunch. China is now 90% of the prescription drugs are made in China. that we need. Advanced semiconductor chips are made in Taiwan, 90% of them. I mean, look at all of the, Russia invaded Ukraine. I mean, look at all of the things that President Trump couldn't deal with Russia the way he should have dealt with Russia because he was thinking about, oh, God, I don't want to say the wrong thing because they'll think I colluded. I mean, there was so many implications to this scandal. And so far, we haven't seen anybody take the fall.
You're absolutely correct on that one. A lot of things were not able to be addressed because when a presidential administration is having to respond to media questions, investigations from Congress, et cetera, it's hard to really focus on the issues that are in front of the American people. And in spite of all that, President Trump's first term was still very successful.
That's right.
Very successful presidency despite all of that. And I think what people are now seeing in his second administration, when you're not having to deal with the idiocy of the left and them using the deep state against an American president, look how much has been accomplished in the first 8 months under President Donald Trump, now the 47th president of the United States. It's quite remarkable, but it does speak to how disgusting the Democrats were when they were trying to wield the American government against the American president.
Yeah, I mean, and why? And why all the hate, right? Why say that President Trump is a threat to democracy while you are actually threatening democracy by selecting people, not electing people like Hillary Clinton, like Kamala Harris? You know, all right, let me get back to business because you're going to be getting back to Washington soon. And President Trump's budget director, Russ Vought, is considering a pocket rescission to cancel federal funds ahead of a potential government shutdown next month. The move sparking debate by a handful of Republican senators as it would cancel congressionally authorized funding without a vote. Vought is defending the move, saying the tactic has been used before and the funds simply evaporate at the end of the fiscal year. Congressman, what are you going to do about that rescission package that he's talking about? And do you expect a government shutdown come September?
I don't think we're going to have a shutdown. I think there's going to be a deal that happens at the last minute. We might extend this into December. I haven't spoken with the speaker, so I'm not sure what the full plan is. But I think looking at the landscape, that's probably where we're going to end up. When it comes to, I guess the term is pocket rescissions. Listen, if there's funding that the administration just isn't able to extend because it doesn't want to waste the taxpayer dollars of the American people, and you cross the budget timeline going into the next fiscal year, my opinion is, yes, it does evaporate the way Russ Vought's saying. What these Republicans in the Senate need to be doing is helping us cut spending. Let's focus on that. That's going to help the American people. Great point. Amen to that. Congressman, good to see you, sir. Byron Donalds this morning in Florida. Thank you, sir. We'll be right back.